Lesson 64. Contraction of would. Contract. What's the contraction of I would?
The contraction of I would is I'd.
What are the contractions of you would, he would, she would, etc.?
The contractions of you would, he would, she would, etc. are you'd, he'd, she'd, it'd, we'd, you'd, they'd.
If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see?
If I went to the cinema this evening, I'd see The Artist.
If I were you, which language would I speak?
If you were me, you'd speak Italian.
If a plant had no water, would it die?
Yes, if a plant had no water, it'd die.
Contraction of would with other words. What's the contraction of bookwood?
The contraction of bookwood is booked.
Lesson would. Who would? What would? Which would?
Lessoned, who'd, what'd, which'd.
If you were a king, what'd your wife be called?
If I were a king, my wife would be called a queen.
If you lost your way in a large city, who'd you ask?
If I lost my way in a large city, I'd ask a policeman.
If today were Sunday, what'd tomorrow be?
If today were Sunday, tomorrow'd be Monday.
Sandwich. Cheese. When office workers are too busy to leave their desks for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich?
Yes, when office workers are too busy to leave their desks for lunch, they often just have a quick sandwich.
What kind of things do we put in sandwiches?
We put meat, cheese, egg, etc. in sandwiches.
Fault. Faultless. Faulty. Fix. What's your biggest fault?
My biggest fault is that I get angry easily.
If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault?
No, if my computer was faulty, I wouldn't know how to fix the fault.
Are your dictations usually faultless?
No, my dictations aren't usually faultless. They usually contain mistakes.
If a student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault?
If a student makes a mistake in his dictation, it's usually his fault, but it could sometimes be the teacher's fault.
Okay. All right. What can we say instead of okay?
Instead of okay, we can say all right.
Compare. Comparison. Have something in common. Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon?
No, we can't compare Michelangelo with Napoleon.
Why not?
Because they were two completely different kinds of people who did different things from each other.
What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them?
If we want to make a comparison between two people or things, they must have something in common.
Ice. Cool. What do we use ice for?
We use ice for putting in drinks to cool them, etc.
Pour. What am I doing?
You're pouring some water from a bottle into a glass.
Unite. Do you think that all the countries of the world will unite one day?
No, I don't think that all the countries of the world will unite one day.
Even. Surprising. Give me a sentence with even in it.
She speaks Russian, German, French, and even Chinese. He was very impolite. He didn't even say hello. It's very simple. Even a child could understand it.
Mix. Mixture. Pink. Do we generally mix sugar with potatoes?
No, we don't generally mix sugar with potatoes.
Do you think a mixture of tea and coffee would make a pleasant drink?
No, I don't think a mixture of tea and coffee would make a pleasant drink. It would make an unpleasant drink.
If you mixed some red and white paint together, What would you get?
If I mixed some red and white paint together, I'd get pink paint.
Care. Care for. Take care of. Who cared for you when you were a child?
My mother cared for me when I was a child.
Do you think the young should take care of the old?
Yes, I think the young should take care of the old.
Do you take good care of your health?
Yes, I take good care of my health.
Do you care what people think or say about you?
Yes, I care what people think or say about me.
Appointment. Keep an appointment. Hurry. Take your time. If you were late for a very important appointment, would you take your time?
No, if I were late for a very important appointment, I wouldn't take my time, I'd hurry.
Why?
Because it's important to keep appointments that we've made.
Why is it sometimes a bad thing to hurry?
It's sometimes a bad thing to hurry because we often make mistakes when we hurry.
Would you take your time going home if somebody told you your house was on fire?
No, I wouldn't take my time going home if somebody told me my house was on fire. I'd hurry.
Plenty of. What do the words plenty of mean?
The words plenty of mean more than enough.
Do people hurry when they have plenty of time?
No, people don't hurry when they have plenty of time. They take their time.
What's the opposite of plenty of water?
The opposite of plenty of water is little water or not enough water.
Lesson 65. 4. Since. Period. Point. What's the difference between for and since?
The difference between for and since is that we use the word for when we say a period of time, whereas we use the word since when we say the point at which the period began.
Give me some examples of for.
For half an hour, for 2 weeks.
Now give me some examples of since.
Since 6 o'clock, since last June.
How long have you been in this room for?
I've been in this room for half an hour.
Since when has she been in this room?
She's been in this room since 2:30.
How long have you lived in this town for?
I've lived in this town for 6 months.
Since when has she lived in this town?
She's lived in this town since July.
About how long have you known me for?
I've known you for about a year.
Since when has she known me?
She's known you since last June.
Have you been able to speak English for more than 10 years?
No, I haven't been able to speak English for more than 10 years.
Have you been able to speak English since you were a young child?
Yes, I've been able to speak English since I was a young child.
Kitchen. Fridge. Freezer. Cooker. Sink. Microwave. What kind of things does a kitchen usually contain?
A kitchen usually contains a fridge, a freezer, a cooker, a sink, etc.
Does meat last longer in a fridge or a freezer?
Meat lasts longer in a freezer.
Why do some people like using microwaves?
Some people like using microwaves because they cook food very quickly.
Studies. Did you find English pronunciation a little difficult at the beginning of your studies?
Yes, I found English pronunciation a little difficult at the beginning of my studies.
Do you hope your English studies will help your future career?
Yes, I hope my English studies will help my future career.
Lend. Lent. Lent. Return. Would you lend me some money if I asked you?
Yes, I'd lend you some money if you asked me.
If you lent something to somebody and they didn't return it, what did you do?
If I lent something to somebody and they didn't return it, I'd keep asking for it back.
First name. Surname. What's your first name?
My first name's Anushka.
What's your surname?
My surname's Holmes.
Actor. Actress. Famous. Film star. Would you like to be famous?
Yes, I'd like to be famous.
What's a film star?
A film star is a famous actor or actress in the cinema world.
Tell me the names of some famous film stars, please.
Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz, etc.
Name a few famous people in history.
A few famous people in history are Shakespeare, Einstein, Michelangelo, etc.
Industrial. Agricultural. Region. What's the most industrial city in your country?
London is the most industrial city in my country.
What's the most agricultural region of your country?
The Southwest is the most agricultural region of my country.
Apologize. Apology. Keep somebody waiting. What do we say when we apologize for doing something wrong?
When we apologize for doing something wrong, we say, "I'm sorry."
If you keep somebody waiting for a long time, should you apologize?
Yes, if you keep somebody waiting for a long time, you should apologize.
What's the noun of the verb apologize?
The noun of the verb apologize is apology.
Avoid. How can we help to avoid becoming ill?
We can help to avoid becoming ill by living a healthy life.
Bend. Do you have to bend down if you want to touch your feet?
No, I don't have to bend down if I want to touch my feet, but it would be the easiest way.
Century. Which do you think was the best century in history to live in?
I think the 16th century was the best century in history to live in.
Fashion. Do you like the fashion in clothes at the moment?
No, I don't like the fashion in clothes at the moment.
Gate. Does this school have a gate outside it?
Yes, this school has a gate outside it.
Worry. Be worried. Do some people worry too much?
Yes, some people worry too much.
Are you worried about your future?
Yes, I'm worried about my future.
Why should you not worry if you don't immediately understand some of the grammar in this book?
I shouldn't worry if I don't immediately understand some of the grammar in this book because I will practice it again in other lessons and I can study it at home.
Run. When we're in a hurry, what must we do?
When we're in a hurry, we must run.
What's the furthest you've ever run?
The furthest I've ever run is 1 kilometre.